SBRForum videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing UFC 167, and right now we are talking with former UFC fighter and MMA analyst Frank Trigg and Nick Kalikas, MMA oddsmaker, and he is from MMAoddsbreaker.com. All right, guys, let's discuss Rashad Evans and Chael Sonnen right now. The odds I'm seeing currently are Evans minus 175, Sonnen plus 155. Three-round fight. The over is heavily juiced, minus 285. You know, I think the biggest X factor in this fight is where is Rashad Evans' head? Because he's looked kind of like listless, uninterested, not motivated in recent fights. I think that most people would agree that, you know, the best Evans probably beats the best Sonnen, but, you know, if Evans comes in disinterested again, then probably Sonnen at plus 155 as that kind of underdog has great value. Frank Trigg, what do you make of this fight and these odds?
Evans can't come in not motivated this time. He can't do it. If he starts going on another unmotivated string of losses, he's going to be out of the game. He doesn't have the mouth that Chael Sonnen has. Chael can go 0-5, and he'll still have a job in the UFC. Rashad Evans goes 0-2, he's out. And it's a very difficult task for a guy that feels himself to be at the top of the heap. He feels that he should be up there in the talking about always another title shot, always another title battle, but he's getting a bad luck of the draw, and he's having really, really tough matchups. Rashad Evans stylistically versus Sonnen stylistically is a great matchup for Rashad. Other than Sonnen be able to having to control the wrestling from the very, very beginning. If Sonnen gets a very early takedown and gets on top and lays down Rashad for the first round and holds him down, then Chael has a shot. But Rashad isn't going to let that happen. He's going to beat him up. He's going to throw a bunch of uppercuts, keep him off, bang him out. I really see Rashad Evans finishing this fight sometime in the second round.
All right, let me ask you about one factor that people are discussing. You know, a lot of times, you know, fighters are matched up with people maybe they don't really like that much or that they have no opinion of. But these two guys are friends. You know, they're on TV together. How much do you think that factors in ultimately when it comes down to the start of the fight?
It's a big factor because when you go out there, you throw that first jab, you throw that first big, heavy power shot, and you tag him with it. Mm-hmm. Because your friend, you're not going to go for blood. You're not going to go out there and try and rip his eyeball off. They're going to go out there and try and make sure his ear is coming off, and you're going to knock him out and embarrass him. You know, try and get that Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson highlight reel out of it. Because it's your friend, it's your buddy. You don't want to do that to him. So if there's a submission being involved, you're going to go and take a little bit off it so it doesn't break, but it'll still tap. When you hit him and you see that he's kind of falling on Queer Street, you're not going to knock him out again and try to smash him. You let it go a little bit. When you're fighting your friend, no matter how much you want to be a businessman out there, you're still going to pull something back because it's your friend. So it's going to be very difficult if one of these guys is in a superior position to finish this fight. But Rashad Evans has a better top game when it was pure wrestling. He has a better top game when it comes to MMA. So I think if there's a position where he's starting to get a TKO, the fight's getting close to getting finished, he'll back off and throw a bunch of punches with no power on him, but enough to make the referee stop. But Chael will be able to get up, walk away, and get ready for his Vanderlei Silva fight.
All right, there you go. Stuff like that does matter, and it is something that the fighters are aware of even as the fight is going on. So don't you think that maybe that kind of thing might lend itself towards a fight being more likely to go the distance or not?
That leads it towards more going for the distance because you see a guy starting to fall over, you back off a little bit, you don't finish him, so he's able to get out of the round. I do see this fight going a lot later, but I do think that the cardio factor that they're really trying to push for Rashad Evans, the fact that Chael Sonnen, for no matter what he says, is so busy doing other things, whether it's commentating on Fox and all of his passion for his workouts, everything else is going on outside of just MMA, I just don't see him putting in a great training camp anymore this late in his career because he has to do so many other things to fulfill his coffers and make sure his money keeps coming in the way it is, that he just can't focus on being only an MMA fighter. Rashad Evans, he's only focusing on being an MMA fighter. He's not doing extra commentating gigs, not doing extra stuff. All he's doing is being a fighter. So I think if this gets to a position where there is a possible finish, Rashad's going to be able to finish, but Chael won't. And because Chael won't be able to finish, even if he gets in that dominant position, he will not be in a spot where he'll be able to win the fight because Rashad will find a way to come back.
So before we move on to get Nick's opinions, let me just get your opinion on this one factor. You know, you've been an MMA fighter for a long time, so you know what the deal is with the ups and downs of like motivation and psychological issues. What do you make of Evans's recent obvious motivational issues, and what makes you think that he's going to come in here in top form, fully motivated?
I think going through the divorce really affected him. I think that that his ex, to my knowledge, was trying to use his child as a pawn between the two of them, and it made it very difficult for him to spend time with his kids. And that whole game, he finally got that put to rest, and he's finally gotten a position where he's getting a little bit more respect because Alistair Overeem, down in Black Zillions, has lost a couple of fights. So it's not every time you walk into practice, you have Rashad Evans, but oh yeah, by the way, here's Alistair Overeem. Now everyone's realizing that this power and this pressure and this push, especially with Vitor Belfort, just getting that knockout of Dan Henderson a little while ago, that this is a major deal. It's a major factor that now Rashad Evans and the Black Zillions are getting themselves back into position where everything actually is coming together in a form that is going to be very beneficial to Rashad Evans. He loves the team factor. He loves the team when it's all together in a cohesive unit. And finally, the Black Zillions are back to a cohesive unit because there's not the one big gargantuan gorilla in the room that's taking over everything because he's supposed to be the superstar. Now the lead has changed to guys that are willing to share the lead with other people. The lead is now on Vitor Belfort. He's willing to share that lead with other people. Rashad Evans has got himself finally got his personal life back on track and everything is squared away. This is a guy that's hungry again and wants to prove that he still has a lot left in the tank.
All right, Frank Trigg, sounds like he's expecting a bounce back from Rashad Evans here. Nick Kalikas, is that how the public's betting this fight?
They're all on Sonnen, and you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not really that shocked. I mean, he's an ultra-popular fighter. He did look impressive in his last fight against Shogun Rua, but you know what, man? If he didn't sink that choke in, I'm not sure what would have happened. I actually suspect that Shogun probably would have won the fight. It didn't go down that way, and you got to give all credit to Sonnen for getting that submission win because he's smart. His fight IQ has improved a lot. Not that he needed it, but sometimes he put himself in vulnerable positions. So he's got a little bit of momentum on his side. The public is supporting him again. And like you just said, Peter, I mean, based on Rashad's last few performances, people are kind of down on him a little bit. So they're thinking this is a spot Sonnen could probably come in, control, and possibly steal a decision here. A lot of people believe that Sonnen's going to have the wrestling edge. I'm not too sure about that. I think actually Rashad is going to come out looking to put Sonnen on his back. And if he does that, then obviously Chael's kind of like a fish out of water. I mean, he's hard to keep down, but if anybody could do it, I think Rashad can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this fight. I'm not sure if the matchups or the wrestling edges or any of that really matters. I think the biggest factor that you have to be predict here is what which Evans are we going to see? The Evans of old or the Evans of the last few fights?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, if he comes and shows up like he can be and he's capable of performing, this should kind of be not an easy fight. I mean, I know that doesn't make much sense, but it should be stylistically because the guy definitely is the better fighter on the feet. He's got the speed advantage. He might have the wrestling advantage in this fight. So every which way this fight takes place, he's actually got the advantage over Chael Sonnen. But the cards and the judges, you never know. That's always the wild card. If it does hit the scorecards, even if Rashad wins all 3 rounds, we could see a unanimous decision for Chael Sonnen.
So Frank Trigg, if you were going to make a bet on this fight, it sounds to me like you're leaning towards Rashad Evans minus 175. But does that not worry you a little bit if it's stays on the ground and it's pretty close and then it goes to the cards that you'd have to trust the judges to give it to Evans?
Yeah, and that's one of the issues, though. If you also look at the style of both these guys, Rashad on his feet moves a lot more, he attacks a lot more, he's a little bit slicker on he moves on his feet, and that wins a lot of judges' hearts and minds.
Yeah.
On the ground, if he's underneath and getting held down and not trying to get back up to his feet, Chael can steal it. But I just don't see Rashad laying down on the ground. I think he's going to be able to. His style is better between these two for judges to pay attention to him. He's got more flash, more pop, more circumstance that happens along with this. So I think that if it does go decision, I am going to be worried, but because of the value that I'm getting on Rashad, it's well worth the bet I'm going to put on.
So at the current lines, minus 175, Chael Sonnen plus 155. Frank Trigg, you'd actually take Evans minus 175.